The sun was soft and golden over the green hills of New Terra, one of Earth's most peaceful colonies. Families were out enjoying the calm weather. Children laughed as they ran through the tall alien grass that shimmered blue under sunlight. Among them was a little girl named Lena Voss, just 7 years old, with big brown eyes and a wild imagination. She was the daughter of Dr. Adam Voss, a respected defense scientist working for Earth's planetary network. Lena loved exploring. That day, she wandered a little further from the picnic spot, following a butterfly with bright purple wings. Her parents were nearby, chatting with other families. No one noticed when Lena slipped behind a hill near the forest's edge. And then, silence. 5 minutes passed. 10. Her mother called out, "Lena? Time to eat." No answer. At first, they thought she was just hiding or playing a game. But when 20 minutes passed and she didn't come back, fear began to grow. Dr. Voss called the colony security, and within minutes, drones were flying overhead, scanning the area. Ground patrols swept the forest line. Loudspeakers repeated her name again and again. Nothing. No animal prints. No torn clothing. No sign of a struggle. Then the colony's security I made a strange report. Faint acidic burn in the grass where Lena was last seen. And something even stranger. Non-human footprints. Long clawed and glowing faintly blue under ultraviolet light. These weren't from any known animal or colonist. Panic spread through the colony. Lena wasn't just missing, she had been taken. Back on Earth, news reached the Global Human Council within the hour. Dr. Voss was already on a transport ship heading home. But he wasn't quiet. He demanded answers. He wanted action. "Someone took my daughter," he said to the council. "You trained me to build defenses. Now let me use them." At the same time, far beyond Earth's solar systems, one of Earth's deep space monitoring probes picked up a strange transmission. It was buried in static, in a language not fully decoded. But the AI translation team managed to pull one sentence from the noise. "The specimen is secured. Begin transport." The signal came from deep within the Cairene expanse, a region claimed by a coalition of alien species Earth had only made light contact with. Officially, they were neutral. Quiet, secretive. Dr. Voss didn't care about diplomacy anymore. He stood before the council, his eyes bloodshot, hands clenched. "I don't care who they are," he said. "I want her back. And if anyone stands in our way, we break them." The council chamber was silent. President Holley, a calm and thoughtful leader, looked over at the other members. She had a reputation for avoiding war at any cost, but even she could feel it. This was different. This wasn't about politics. This was about a child. About one of their own. She finally nodded. "Begin covert operation. Recover the child. No mistakes, no delays." Elsewhere in orbit, deep in a black hole space hangar, a stealth ship powered up in silence. It was called the Shadow Talon, Earth's most advanced recon vessel. Its mission was clear. Track the signal. Find Lena. Bring her home. Inside the ship, a crew of elite soldiers prepared for departure. Their leader, Captain Mira Wren, checked the logs. "Kids only 7, she muttered. And they thought they could just take her? She looked around at her team, each of them ready, each of them deadly. Let's show them what happens when you mess with humanity. As the ship vanished into warp space, Earth watched silently, angry, focused. Somewhere out in the stars, a little girl was scared and alone, but her people were coming, and they were not coming in peace. The Shadow. Talon moved like a ghost through space. Its black hull absorbed light, and no radar in the known galaxy could track it. Deep inside the ship, the crew was silent, focused. They had one mission: find Lena Voss and bring her home. Failure was not an option. Captain Mira Wren, a decorated officer with sharp gray eyes and years of battlefield experience, stood in front of the holographic map. Next to her was Jin, a quiet tech genius who communicated more with machines than people. On the far side of the room stood Thorn, a former shock trooper with cybernetic arms and a reputation for ending fights before they started. Jin, I've tracked the signal. It was masked, hidden inside a junk data stream, but it led to a system in the Kairene Expanse Sector 7G. Occupied? Mira asked, controlled by the Varna Confederacy. They've always avoided contact, never hostile, but never friendly either. Myra frowned. They just became our problem. The Shadow Talon entered the expanse. Jin activated deep scans, reaching far into the dark region of space. After hours of silence, the ship's AI spoke. One human life form detected. Weak signal. Encrypted environment. No other human activity nearby. The coordinates matched a remote moon orbiting a red gas giant. No cities, no colonies, just a single facility buried beneath the rocky surface. Lena's in there, Mira whispered. Her voice dropped colder. What kind of monsters kidnap a child and take her to a hidden lab? Back on Earth, the Global Council received the data. There was no time for negotiations, no time for warnings. The President gave a direct order. Engage. Immediate recovery. No mercy if opposed. The Shadow Talon began its descent toward the moon. As they entered the atmosphere, Mira addressed her team. This is a non-civilian site. No humans besides the girl. If they resist, we respond. Fast, clean, final. The ship landed silently. In the shadows, drones were released, mapping the underground facility. It was built into the stone, sealed tight, guarded by strange energy signatures. They're using biolock tech, Jin noted. Part biological, part mechanical. These aren't machines. They're grown, Thorn smirked. Doesn't matter. Everything breaks if you hit it hard enough. Myra nodded. Let's move. The team entered through a ventilation shaft, bypassing main doors. Inside, the hallways were damp, dark, and filled with strange glowing roots crawling along the ceiling. The air smelled like chemicals, and something worse fear. As they moved deeper, alien voices echoed in the distance. Mira raised her fist. Everyone froze. 2 Varna guards walked by, tall and armored in bone-like plates. Their weapons pulsed with green light. They spoke in clicking tones, but Jin's translator caught one line. Test subject's resistance is higher than expected. Neural mapping incomplete. Myra's jaw tightened. Thorn moved first. One silent step, then another. In a flash, both. Guards were down, one with a crushed throat, the other with a blade through the heart. No alarm sounded. No one saw it. Jin hacked the nearest console and unlocked a door marked Specimen Storage Organic Tier 1. Inside the chamber, Lena sat curled in a corner. Her hair was messy, her clothes torn, but her eyes lit up the second she saw Myra. "You're human," she cried, tears running down her face. Myra knelt and picked her up gently. "Your father sent us. You're safe now." Suddenly, red lights flashed. Sirens began to wail. "Too late," Jin said. "They know we're here." Outside, automated defense systems came alive. Giant spider-like machines emerged from walls. The base shook as a deep mechanical voice echoed through the halls. Unauthorized. Breach detected. Purge protocol activated. Mira spoke calmly through her comb. "Talon, prepare emergency extraction. We're bringing her out now." Fighting their way through the corridor, the team used M-greens and shock rounds. The alien tech short-circuited. Easily, but there were many. Too many. As they reached the surface, they saw the real threat. A fleet. 20 alien warships had just entered the moon's orbit. The Varnock Confederacy was ready for war. Mira stared at the sky, holding Lena in her arms. "We're outnumbered," Jin said. "No way we can win this." Admira smiled. "We're not here to win." The cum crackled with a new voice. "This is Earth Command. Reinforcements inbound. Stand by." Jin's eyes widened. "Wait. They're sending the Nemesis?" Mira nodded slowly. "It's not just a rescue anymore. It's a message." Lena clung to Myra's armor, whispering, "Are they going to hurt us?" Mira looked into her eyes and replied softly, "No, sweetheart. They just made the biggest mistake of their lives." As explosions lit the sky and Earth's backup forces arrived through a hidden warp gate, the galaxy unknowingly stepped into a new era. One where humanity doesn't ask, God, it takes back. What's theirs? Asterisk. From orbit, the moon looked quiet, a dead rock circling a forgotten gas giant. But that silence shattered when Earth's vengeance arrived. The Nemesis didn't exit warp space like a normal ship. It ripped through it. Reality bent, space screamed, and then it appeared, Earth's most feared war vessel. Longer than 10 alien dreadnoughts combined, it was forged in Earth's shadow yards, coated in a gravity-dampening alloy that made sensors go blind. To the Varnock fleet in orbit, it was unexpected. To Lena's rescuers on the ground, it was salvation. Inside the command bridge, Admiral Kane Rourke stood with his hands behind his back, eyes locked on the enemy ships. He didn't blink. He didn't speak. His assistant, Vanta, whispered coldly, 20 enemy vessels detected. Power signatures weak. Weapons outdated. Kane nodded once. Broadcast this across all channels. Human language. No translation. Vanta spoke, calm but merciless. You have taken a child of Earth. That was your first and last mistake. You have 10 seconds to surrender or be erased. On board the alien flagship, Commander Zirath panicked. No species threatens us like this. We are Varnock. He didn't get to finish. The Nemesis fired once. A single rail cannon shot, traveling at 20% the speed of light, tore through the Varnock flagship like it was made of paper. There was no explosion, just sudden silence and debris. A second later, 2 more Varnock ships vanished, their shields crushed, hulls splintered. The rest of the fleet scattered, trying to flee. But the Nemesis had already released its swarm, hundreds of drone fighters, piloted by Earth's tactical AI, each smarter than an entire alien fleet combined. From the moon's surface, Mira and her team watched the sky ignite with controlled fire. Lena stared in awe. Is that Earth? She asked. Myra smiled. No, that's Earth angry. The extraction was tight. The Shadow Talon landed near a rocky plateau, its engines glowing hot. Mira carried Lena on board, while Thorn covered the rear, firing plasma bursts to hold off ground attackers. Jin hacked the last blast door, locking it behind them. Go! We're loaded. Mira shouted. The Shadow Talon lifted, engines roaring, climbing toward the stars as debris from the orbital. Battle rained down like meteors. But the mission wasn't over. Admiral Kane opened a private line to Myra. Did you recover the target? Yes, sir. Lena Voss is safe. Then you may want to sit down. He sent her a data feed. Myra's eyes widened as she read. They didn't just take her, Kane said. They've done this before. 5 other children, taken from remote colonies in the past decade, hidden, experimented on, covered up by Varnock silence. Myra's voice darkened. They were building weapons. Kane nodded grimly. And Earth was the test subject. Back on Earth, the Council was no longer in debate. The President gave a single, history-changing order. Initiate Operation Iron Sky. Wipe the Varnock Confederacy from the map. For the first time in centuries, Earth unified its entire military force. Fleets from Mars, Europa, Titan, and even the deep space outposts formed one banner. Retribution. The human message to the galaxy was clear. We are peaceful by choice. But if you touch our children, no star system will hide you. Inside the Shadow Talon, Lena sat beside Mira, wrapped in a warm blanket, sipping nutrient broth. Her small hands trembled. Are they all gone now? She asked softly. Mira looked at her. Some are. The rest will be soon. Lena nodded. Then, slowly, she reached into her torn jacket and pulled out a small chip. They made me carry this. Said it would help them learn how to speak Earth languages better. Myra took it carefully and passed it to Jin. Jin's eyes widened. Captain, this isn't just language data. This is Earth's genome code. They were studying how to build a copy of us, or destroy us. Myra's voice dropped low. Then we end this now. No survivors, no second chances. In the outer rim of Varnoak space, panic spread like wildfire. One by one, listening posts went silent. Communication towers fell. Colonies burned, not from chaos, but from precision. Humanity wasn't just fighting. It was cleaning house. In one recorded Varnoak distress signal, a terrified officer cried, "They don't take prisoners. They don't negotiate. They are not like the others," another responded. "They're just humans." A final voice whispered, "No, there's something else. They're Deathworlders." On Earth, Dr. Voss finally held Lena in his arms again. The man who had designed shields and planetary cannons now only cared about one thing: his daughter's smile. But inside, he knew this wasn't over. The Varnoak were only one threat. Others would come. Others would try. But now the galaxy knew the truth. Humanity never forgives. And it never forgets. A week after the Varnoak fleet burned in orbit, their central command station hidden deep inside a red dwarf nebula received a transmission that shook them to the core. It wasn't coded. It wasn't disguised. It was bold, direct, and human. Return every human you've ever taken, or your stars will go dark. The message repeated every hour across every Varnoak channel. The Confederacy's Leadership Council, a circle of 7 species, argued inside their fortress. Pride and fear clashed violently. "They're one species," shouted Archon Dreltuk, slamming his clawed hand on the table. "We outnumber them 100-1. The response came from a younger Varnoak, shaking. "They destroyed 37 ships in 7 minutes. We never even breached their shields." Behind them, a hologram played silent footage from the orbital battle. The Nemesis drifted through debris clouds, untouched, its hull glowing with invisible tech the galaxy had never seen. That was when they realized Earth had been hiding its true strength. Meanwhile, on Earth, Operation Iron Sky moved into full motion. Shipyards glowed day and night. Orbital foundries launched battle cruisers like fireworks. Earth's colonies stopped all civilian traffic, converting every cargo route into military supply lines. But not everything was brute force. In a bunker deep beneath the Andes Mountains, Earth's strategic mind core, a hybrid hive, operated. By quantum entanglement activated, its war scenario protocol, the AI's conclusion was chilling. Varnoak Confederacy is not a lone actor. They had assistance, possibly a larger galactic force. The war had grown bigger than a rescue. On board the Nemesis, Admiral Kane Rourke received a priority ping from the core. A new target had emerged, Gorak Station, a Varnoak black site located inside an asteroid field. According to Earth's intercepted data, it was where the other missing human children were taken. Kane didn't hesitate. Divert the fleet. We're burning that rock to ash. The Nemesis dropped out of warp, just beyond. The asteroid belt. No immediate resistance. But Earth's drones found something worse: biological weapons. Labs sealed inside the rock dot. The humans didn't wait. Stealth corvettes planted grav mines across the asteroid perimeter. The Nemesis deployed boarding teams to retrieve any living. Children. Captain Myra Wren, back from her previous mission, led the charge herself. Inside Gorak Station, Mira and her team saw what the Varnak had been hiding. Rows of pods. Human children hooked to machines, floating in biogel. Their minds probed by alien computers. Chin whispered. They're not just testing them. They were trying to extract emotions. Pain, memory, even dreams. Myra's eyes burned with rage. End it. All of it. Thorne pulled the detonation trigger on the charges. With pleasure. 36 children were rescued. Gorak Station was vaporized. As the Nemesis exited the belt, the Varno Confederacy sent a desperate signal. Cease.
Fire.
We will return the rest. We will pay. Just stop. Earth didn't reply. Instead, a broadcast from President Hale echoed across galactic space. We do not seek war, but we will finish one if forced. If you harm one of ours, there will be nowhere in this universe for you to hide. Back on Earth, Dr. Voss watched as Lena played with the other rescued children in a safe facility. Laughter returned to her face, but her father knew that some scars would remain forever. She ran to him, holding a drawing. I made this. She smiled. It showed a little girl holding hands with a tall soldier and a big spaceship in the sky. Above them, in childlike handwriting, the people who came for me. He hugged her tightly, and for a moment he allowed himself to breathe again. But in the shadows of the galaxy, far beyond Varnock space, others were watching. Species that had once looked down on humanity. Empires that had thought Earth was weak. Emotional, fragmented. Now they saw it clearly. Humanity was something else. They built peace, yes. But when provoked, they became a force of nature. Unstoppable, united, unforgiving. The galaxy had just witnessed Earth's answer to power, and it whispered, planet to planet, do not test the Death Worlders again. The galaxy had seen Earth's fire, but they hadn't seen its full fury. Not yet. After Gorak Station was destroyed and the human children were recovered, Earth sent out a message, not of peace, not of negotiation, of finality. There would be no more warnings. In the cold silence of deep space, the Varnock High Council gathered in panic. Their remaining territories were falling one by one. Their outposts were disappearing. Their ships were surrendering without even engaging. Earth didn't bombard cities. It didn't destroy innocent lives. It targeted only the guilty military. Sites, black labs, data centers, and those responsible for the abductions. But that precision made it worse. It showed control, discipline, a predator that only kills what it chooses. They're not fighting a war, whispered Counselor Vosk, trembling. They're delivering judgment. Another slammed his fist. We underestimated them, their diplomacy, their kindness. It was camouflage. A silent screen flickered. A human face appeared. President Hale herself. Calm, unshaken. She spoke. Only once. Surrender now? Or we erase your empire from every star chart in existence. The message repeated on every frequency. The timer on the bottom ticked down. 48 hours. That's all the Varnock had left. Meanwhile, far from the Council's fear, Earth was united in a way it hadn't been in centuries. Old divisions between nations? Gone. Bickering over politics or policy? Forgotten. Every factory, every satellite, every mind focused on one cause. Never let this happen again. In orbit around Titan, Earth activated its Project Revenant, a fleet of autonomous warships, guided by a synthetic consciousness modeled after human instinct and morality. They didn't need sleep. They didn't need food. They needed only one thing: coordinates. The Revenant fleet was not made for defense. It was made for reminders. It entered Varnock space like thunder on a silent night. One by one, the stars over the Confederacy began to disappear, blocked by ships shaped like human vengeance. Inside the flagship Nemesis, Admiral Kane Rourke stood, with Myra, Thorn, and Jin. Behind them, the rescued children rested in cryosleep, healing slowly. "We've rescued 37, Myra said quietly, "but we still don't know how many others are missing." Thorn leaned on a steel railing, cybernetic fingers tapping. "Then we don't stop. Not till every lab is ash and every cage is broken." Kane nodded. "We didn't ask for this. War. But now that it's here, we end it on our terms." On the 48th hour, the Varnic Council tried to respond. They activated an ancient alliance pact, calling upon other species in the outer ring systems for help. But the galaxy had changed. No. One answered. Why? Because every empire had seen the footage. Every species had watched what happened to Gorak Station. And more importantly, every mother, every father, every child across space had heard what the humans were fighting for. Their child. Their future. Their blood. And they began to respect humans in a way no treaty had ever earned. In a final act of desperation, the Varnock activated their doomsday weapon, Project Hollow Sun, a solar weapon buried inside the crust of one of their own stars. It could cause a chain reaction, destroying 5 systems at once. Their logic: if we cannot win, let us remind them we can still take something. They armed it. But Earth knew. Back on Earth, the Strategic Mind Core detected unusual solar activity. Within seconds, the Nemesis was rerouted, and a detachment from the Revenant fleet moved toward the unstable star. Jin hacked the weapon remotely, while Myra and Thorn infiltrated the generator site. They had only minutes before it fired. Inside the burning core, Myra yelled over the alarms, "We don't just destroy the weapon. We capture it." Proof of what they were willing to do. Thorn laughed, swinging his plasma axe. Always with the hard option. Together, they shut it down. Just in time, the star stabilized. Billions of innocent lives were saved. 2 days later, Earth received a full, unconditional surrender from the Varnock Confederacy. Not through battle, not through force, but because they had been shown something more terrifying: what humanity becomes when someone threatens its young. President Halle addressed the galaxy. Her words were not just for Earth. They were for everyone listening beyond the stars. "We are not conquerors. We do not invade. We do not enslave. But know this: if you ever take one of our own again, there will be no place left in this universe for your kind to hide." In the quiet after war, humanity didn't build statues. They didn't throw parades. They built schools. They built hospitals on ruined worlds. They offered peace, but with eyes wide open. And every species remembered Earth's message: "We warned you once. There will be no next time." 5 years had passed since the Varnock War ended, yet the galaxy still whispered the same words. "Do not provoke Earth." They warned us. Peace had returned. Trade routes reopened. The ashes of conflict gave way to rebuilding. But nothing was the same. Not for the stars. Not for the species who had watched. And certainly not for Lena Voss, the girl whose disappearance had awakened the fury of a planet now 12 years old. Lena lived in a secure research academy on Mars. She studied xenolinguistics and neural defense systems, surrounded by brilliant minds who had once risked everything to bring her home. But despite her peaceful life, she carried memories heavier than most adults ever would. Sometimes she dreamed of cold rooms and alien voices, of tubes and wires, of being called specimen, alpha, and sometimes she remembered Captain Nira's arm-strong, warm, pulling her from that place. She never forgot. Across the stars, Earth had transformed. No longer a distant, fragmented world, it had become the center of galactic diplomacy. The Human Alliance. Charter was signed in orbit above Europa, uniting hundreds of colonies and dozens of non-human allies under one pact. Freedom through unity. Peace through strength. Vengeance only when necessary, but always delivered. Human military power was unmatched. But it wasn't Earth's weapons that frightened the galaxy most. It was Earth's resolve. They didn't conquer. They didn't enslave. But when pushed, they finished what others started. Some species called it fear. Others called it justice. But one thing was certain. Nobody kidnapped human children anymore. Nobody even thought about it. But peace never lasts forever. From the outer edges of the Orion Drift, a strange signal was received. It wasn't alien. It was human. A voice, fragmented and distorted. If anyone can hear, they're coming. Not Varnock. Worse. It began where the stars fold inward help us. The signal cut off. The council debated. Many wanted to ignore it. Another trap, they said. A pirate trick. A glitch. But Lena didn't believe it. She was older now, trained, sharper than most analysts, twice her age. She replayed the signal over and over, until she found it, a sound layered beneath the voice. A heartbeat. A human heartbeat. Someone out there was alive. And someone or something was coming. President Howe, now older and grayer, called for a private meeting with Admiral Kane Rourke and Captain Mira Wren. Lena sat in the room as well. This started. With you, Halle said gently. Now you may be the one to stop. What comes next? Myra looked at Lena, no longer a child, but not quite an adult. She saw the same fire from all those years ago. I'll lead the mission, Myra said. Kane nodded. You won't go alone. The mission was codenamed Whisperster. Small, silent, fast. The Shadow Talon, restored and upgraded, slipped. Once more into the black, this time with Lena aboard. Not as cargo, not as a victim, as a specialist. As one of them, they followed the signal trail through warp fragments and decayed star systems. What they found at the edge of the galaxy was ... wrong. A derelict Varnock vessel, shredded, not burned. The metal twisted not by weapons, but by something alive, something that had torn its way through solid hulls. Inside the wreckage was a human. Crew, unconscious, but alive, preserved, and a message etched into the control panel, scratched in by a dying hand. It sleeps under the fold. We touched it. We should not have. Jin ran scans. Thorn watched the shadows. And Lena heard something, faint, inside her mind. A voice. Not in language, but emotion. Hunger. Ancient. Cold. They returned to Earth in silence. The council panicked. Another war? Now? Against what? No one had answers. Only signs. Hints. Warnings. Lena stood before them all and said quietly, I was just a child when this all began. But the galaxy saw what we became when we were hurt. What we'll do to protect each other. She pointed toward the stars. Whatever is out there doesn't know what it's waking up. Earth didn't wait. It prepared, not with fear, but with purpose. The Deathworlders had learned their lesson. Long ago, hope for peace. But always prepare for the storm. And as the stars shifted, as whispers spread again across the void, one truth echoed through every system. We warned you once. And this time they were listening. Asterisk.